Thank you, everybody, for joining me today to our first podcast. We have a great group with us today. We have Sean Morrison, who owns Mill Pond Painting and Contracting. We have Josh Walley with us today of Douglas Elliman. We have Matthew Mcevoy of LendGen Mortgage, and I'll be your moderator today. My name is Eric Schachter. I'm the Senior Vice President of LendGen Mortgage, which is backed by NJ Lenders. So we're very excited to get started, and I'll talk to our first panelist now.
Sean, I know you own several companies and construction and painting and remodeling. One of my questions you kind of just touched on, what are you doing differently today than you were doing in business 2 to 3 years ago? It sounds like patience maybe could be your key right now. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so what I've done, I'll give you over the last 6 months. I have a 15-man daily crew that works for me. And in the beginning of the summer, and for like the last 4 or 5 years, I had like another 7 to 9 guys of subcontractor force that worked with us. And I let them go about 3 months ago, kind of foreseeing like I'm better off giving my base employees more hours, the ability to save and be prepared what's going on. That actually ended up giving us a fuller schedule. The guys have unlimited work hours right now. So if they need to save and be prepared, if we do start to trend down and slow down, at least they were able to save some money. And then my personal liability, without having to make payroll for another 8 guys, is huge. So, I mean, right now my workforce is putting in 58 hours a week per guy. And I'll eventually have to start cutting back. And when I tell my guys 40 hours a week, they get nervous. Like they want those hours.
So with winter coming in the Northeast, I'm sure that also changes things for how your schedule works. Is that
so
accurate?
Like the format of how construction in the Hamptons, where my company works, is there's like staging. So like we're in some houses that are going to be turned over for like the new year or spring. And there's constantly there's going to be foundations put in the ground right now. So they get in. And then those foundations that get put in the ground will be this huge spring rush to deliver those homes for summer. Right now we're dealing with some stuff that was put in the ground in late summer that we're completing. And then there's a whole nother round of projects that'll be turning over for us for winter. And I talk to all my clients, how you doing? All the projects we're bidding on that are 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year out. How do you feel? Do they have financing? Right now, all those people that are all cash buyers, fully cash purchases, average houses anywhere from 5 to 25 million, they're not holding back. They're still doing it. None of them have backed out. But from what I remember is like the second one of them goes, I'm nervous, I'm not going to do it. Their friend gets nervous, and that domino effect happens. And then I'll get the phone call, oh, that project we were going to do, we got to rebid it. They want to go a different route. They want to change financing, or that one lost their financing, or they don't want to pull money out of their mutual fund or their investment to do it. So that hasn't happened yet, but I have these conversations with the builders or property managers that are developing these properties. And so far, nothing's been cut out of the schedule for the next year and a half, too. But I feel like it's coming.
Sean, that's residential or commercial?
So this is high-end luxury residential. So these people are, whether
there
they're
is
from
no
Europe,
season.
Yeah, whether they're from Europe, yeah, Manhattan, Europe, billionaires, some young hedge fund kid, like they're the people that still developed homes in 2010 when there was like no workaround. Every property that I did work on and kept us going I'm like, what's this guy do? Hedge fund, billionaire, hedge fund, billionaire, hedge fund. Like those are the only people that were still developing.
They make money when the market goes down.
Oh, they're making fun. Yep.
So Josh Walley of Douglas Elliman, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on what are you doing differently today versus in the past? You're on mute, Josh.
sorry about that. There's a fire truck that goes down Main Street in Babylon like every 8 minutes. So people don't know how to manage fire safety here. So surprisingly, we're returning to a lot of stuff that we did pre-COVID, and it started to normalize a little bit for us. One big differentiator between that time and now is doubling down on my investor focus. Because right, the opposite side of the hand for when a market downturns is great opportunity. And so thankfully, during the pandemic, I met a new mentor who really started his business in 2008 and based his business, which now is hundreds of millions of dollars of volume a year. He started with in the distressed space where he had a whale who had a faucet, bought properties at a great discount, renovated them and rented them out over and over and over again, and then transitioned those assets over time into some of them went into private mortgages that he keeps. He flipped some of them he still owns. And now actually October 1st, all that stuff they bought in 2009, he just paid the last mortgage payment on the last house. So they have about 20 homes free and clear that have been cash flowing since the Great Recession and now are doubly cash flowing because they're all paid off. So I'm not looking to recreate the wheel, and I'm just looking to fall in on that exact program and do it. So I'm doubling down in that education space and spending as much time with folks like yourself, the smartest people that I can find, spend as much time with you guys, because this is really the ecosystem that's going to make the difference. So for realtors, we have a realtor forest fire coming that a lot of us old heads have been waiting for a long time, because the last couple of years it was like, if you could fog a window, you could sell a house. And now that's over, right? There was 2 realtors at every dining room, every Thanksgiving table in 2021 and 2022. Now it's going to go back. So working in the investor space and helping people grow their portfolios as large as we can make them in this leaner time.
I like it. Giving you good time to plan and to look at what you're doing in your surroundings. I think that's terrific. Matt Mcevoy of LendGen Mortgage. Matt, I know, has been in the mortgage space for 20 years. What would you say is a common myth for mortgage professionals?
Common myth for
something that people,
that we're all brokers.
So brokers versus bankers, or
biggest thing, like a Wells Fargo or a LendGen, they'll think we're a broker when we're actually using our own funds or warehouse lines.
That's great. And I know that at LendGen we have 40 different outlets to take our clients' loans to, maybe even more than that. So to your point, understanding the difference between a banker, a broker, and a mortgage banker is definitely a good myth.
Because we can broker, but sometimes the broker, they don't feel like they're getting the best deal because we're relying on another outlet. Other clients will say, I need a broker, so
that's a good one.
I think is the biggest one.
That's a good one. So Sean, I know you said earlier you get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, you have your morning cup of coffee, but how do you motivate yourself every day? You're thinking about layoffs and all these things. How do you get up and get so fired up every day?
Big goals. So what keeps me going is again, my wife's my partner. We talk about what we're going to do in the future. We have plans and ideas of what we want out of life. She's very secure. She's a teacher. She's going to get to where she's going to be no matter what. I think it's in 9 years, she's retiring. So I have a plan in my head of what I want, what type of vacation house I want. And then I work real hard every day to get that. And I have no one cheering me on other than my wife. If I don't go to work, I don't do this, no one's responsible for me, So I listen to a lot of self-motivating short clips, information, little books, stuff like that. And all day long, I'm watching some little self-motivation, something or something like that. And I mean, I've always been really good about understanding the liability of being self-employed and what it takes, and like pushing off, you get a huge check in and not touching it. I got ripped jeans. I got dirty shoes. I don't need it. I don't need it now. I'm looking forward to the future. So for me, and I don't mind grinding every day and working real hard and putting that money aside. I don't need a Ferrari. I don't ever want one. I want that house paid off. I want 15 rental properties that produce, a huge amount of passive income. So one day I can say, if I want to stop, I can. So, I get up in the morning, positive mind. I'm thinking about where I want to be in the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 10 years of what I want. And so far I'm in the positive direction, and I think I'm going to be able to do it. But I'll talk to people like Maddie, Josh, my cousin. What do you think of this? Is this a safe direction? What should I be changing? Should I be putting more money in investment properties? Should I be putting it in the stock market? Should I be buying gold? Should I hold my money? And I take these people's advice and pass by some of my ideas, what they think. Does this sound right? People I really trust. You really need some people you can talk to about this. I don't talk about what my goals are and stuff with regular friends. Like, a lot of haters out there. A lot of people shouldn't even know about what I'm trying to do. People are weird. And there's a lot of jealous people out there. And most people don't want you to do well. Or if you have big visions, they just don't think it's going to happen, and you'll get negative reaction out of people. So I have to surround myself with very positive people. I keep my boat in a marina. Everyone there is self-employed. We're all friendly. We talk about, how are you doing it? How are you retiring? What are you investing in? What is your business doing? And I get to see them spend some of their money, enjoy their family, and look at how they're getting to their retirement. So it's ultra important to surround yourself with, highly influential, successful people. That's it.
That's great. So we'll jump to another highly
Positive.
successful person. How about Josh? How about yourself? What is it? Podcast you start your morning with? A good walk?
So yeah, I've been really working hard on my morning routine. So I do, I do my morning, as soon as I get up, I grab coffee, I go down into my home office, and I do a morning mantra. I do my daily affirmations. I write one handwritten note of appreciation every morning. I plan my day, and then I exercise. I do, whatever, Peloton and some calisthenics, and then I go and get my son up for the day. So I have to get all of that out every single morning. But I noticed there was a couple. I squeeze in 20 minutes of reading in there every morning. So those couple of things sets my mind right. Really, I really focused this year on managing my relationship with myself, because I realized Sean gave me a lot of good one-liners, right? And he says, you get out of life what you believe you deserve. So I really took on reshaping my relationship with myself and saying, like, I deserve to have all these things in my life. So I really managed that thought pattern very closely, because there's a lot of negative stuff. I don't watch the news, none of that stuff. I don't do any, it's all fear and junk. So I'm looking for people I want to be the least intelligent and poorest person in the room. That's my goal. Right?
I like that. So Matt, right now, I'm sorry, as a buyer right now in this market, you definitely could be bucking the trend, jumping in now to try and, squeeze out a deal. Purchase prices were, going $100,000, $200,000 over asking price just a few months ago. And today you could potentially go under asking. How are you seeing things? What do you think about the timing in this market to get involved?
Yeah, I don't watch the MLS as closely as I was when I was personally shopping for my own home, but I do see price cuts, or I think Josh said price adjustments, where the market is coming down a little bit as far as pretty much all my pipeline, the purchase business, the shoppers that are looking for properties are putting in an offer at 550 when the listing's 625. So, and taking a 7.25, 30-year fix, know that it's not going to last for 30 years. They can refinance in a couple years to get that rate lower. So I see it coming down. I don't think where we're all located, you're going to see a big drop unless something, one of three things need to happen, right? The zero tolerance with China and with COVID. The Fed needs to just come off a little bit from raising rates. And we would see a big increase. I think the market, I guess I'm talking about stock right now. I don't know how closely stocks prices and mortgage house values coincide, but I think if we see one of those three things, I don't think I mentioned the third one, Fed easing, not raising. Oh yeah, Putin and Russia just saying, you know what? My bad.
I was going to say that has to be a big one. The war in Ukraine.
Yeah, not to laugh at it, but if one of those three things happen, you'll see this market, especially our local market, go up. As Sean mentioned, his value today, his house today is way above the 2008, 2007 number. And what you brought up earlier, Eric, was he also said with Florida, you see that opportunity that the values and the sale prices aren't close to what they were in 2007, 2008. So there's room to grow. And like you said, Eric, with the average value, what was it? National average? Oh, we got two of Sean. The national average was 400 for a home.
470,000
for a valuation, not
yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about that.
There you go. What about you, Josh? Are you seeing seller concessions or any type of closing costs paid by the seller? I know we are hearing a lot about 2-1 buy downs, which sellers would be contributing to. What are you seeing?
I'm not seeing a ton, because I operate really where I sell is different where I manage. I'm not seeing as much 2-1 buy down stuff as we should, which I think is foolish because people are just still thinking in traditional terms of price, but that 2-1 buy down or even just a seller's concession to buy the interest rate down.
Right.
They may not go back down to 4, right? Like I worked for City Financial, right, before the Great Recession. Like I remember it distinctly. I had a woman kiss me on the mouth because I got her 6 7/8. She thought I was a hero, right? So that may be where we land, right? Is in the 6s. So try to buy that rate down because you may kick the can for a long time to when you can refi, you can stay competitive for a long time. So I would like to see more 2-1 buy down and concessions. I have not put in an offer in the last 60 days that is at or above asking price. I am primarily working with cash buyers right now. Surprisingly, and this cash buyers they're being much more selective. They're really taking their time, and I think we're in a really funky spot because the mindset, like people are selling some really nice stuff, really nice homes, and they gotta give a discount and they don't want to. Well, they have a good perceived discount, right? So I had right out of the gate, a 97% to list offer, all cash, no contingencies, close when you want, after the holidays, God bless you. And they said no. I was like that. And then 30 days later, they're like, are you still around? I'm like, you blew it, right? So I'm not, but we do have in my office, we had one in Brentwood. It was a $399 ranch, redone, small, but redone. 40 people at the open house, and it went thousands over the asking price, and then another 55 and over 2-bedroom condo in Amityville was listed at 425. 40 people come through the open house this weekend, and it's sold for 505. It's wild. It's just all over the place. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That
So,
price range must be something with the interest rates where people can qualify. I know I have a couple pre-approvals where I'm telling them, no, you need to be, your sweet spot is 4.25,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
Also, the property taxes might jump up over 500,000 too, pushing them outside of, that acceptable range.
I think that's a big deal. I think in my industry,
Big deal.
that is the one thing that most, especially new agents, if you've been in the business like less than 3 years, it's not even on your radar. But property taxes is, Matt and I have a mutual customer right now. I'm just banging it against her head about property taxes. And she's like, I don't understand how this affects my purchase price. I'm like, it is the number one driver, right? A $500,000 house, it doesn't cost the same in two different school districts or municipalities, because your tax base can be wildly different. Your taxes could be 30% higher, Shoreham School District, than you would be for Riverhead School District for the same $500,000 house. You qualify for one and not for the other. And if you don't qualify, it's by a long shot, right? It's a big deal.
Right.
So when the market changes, normally it changes over time. I usually talk about the real estate market like a cruise ship turning. It happens really, really slowly over time. But man, we turned like on a dime, right? And
Right.
so when the market transitions, it doesn't affect the nation uniformly, and it becomes very, very localized game. So so your very rate sensitive areas, Shirley, Mastic, Sound Beach, Rocky Point, right? Where like $50 makes a big difference. $100 in your payment makes a big difference. Those areas are getting, I have one in Mastic that's been on the market for like 42 days. I have one showing, one, it is dead, right? So
Wow.
we have probably 25% price reduction, gross price reduction coming, right? But like that's changing people's mindset. That's a big deal. But right, North Fork, South Fork, it's humming. They're not fazed by it because they're not interest rate sensitive, right?
It's all very interesting. What about you, Sean, in terms of books and movies, stuff like that? I don't know if you're a big reader, but what would you
Sean's
say?
from Riverhead. He doesn't read.
Yeah. Hey, I honestly, I don't read a lot. I watch a lot of little snippets on Instagram, and I follow a bunch of influential people. The guy who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I watch that guy a lot and listen to him and all those other crazy motivational speakers. And then again, call Matt a lot. I call Josh a lot. I call another dozen people a lot, and stay motivated with them.
I like it.
I loved your line, Sean. What was it? Surround yourself by losers and you'll be one of them. Surround yourself with successful people and you'll become one of them.
Yeah.
You said it a little bit better.
We grew up with some weirdos back in the day, and not for nothing, the further you shorten your group of trustworthy friends and bring in the other right people that'll influence you the right way, big deal.
Josh, what about you? Any good books or a podcast that we should all listen to, get on?
Well, I mean, I think I'm an avid reader, but The Slight Edge was a big mind shift for me. Atomic Habits, another one. For realtors, I think Ninja Selling is a phenomenal book as well. And then The Go-Giver, which is a good uniform one. Go-Giver is a great book. Those are all big mindset shifts for me. But yeah, I try to sneak in at least 20 minutes of reading a day and move that needle because it adds up. It adds up over time.
There you go. Working out your body, working out your brain. It's all needed. I love it. Matt, tell me, who's the most influential person in your life, or, most meaningful as a mentor, however you see answering this?
I mean, immediately it's my dad. My dad taught me, he taught me to be a good person over anything else. I don't care if you get straight A's. I don't care if you make $1 million. Be a good person and treat people the way you want to be treated. That I carry with me forever and always. Business wise, it's you, Eric.
I didn't set that up intentionally, but thank you. That worked out nicely. I was like, make sure to ask Matt this question. Thank you. We've grown a lot together, and we've seen a lot of successes, and it's been a great run. Really,
can you believe it's been 12 years?
Crazy. And part of these things that we talk about, we probably wouldn't have been discussing them 12 years, like podcasts and reading books and, pressures of the marketplace, things that you didn't really think about, understanding different pockets in the country and home values and, 2-1 buy downs, so I think all of these things are really exciting. I again want to thank you all for this. Josh Walley of Douglas Elliman, Matt Mcevoy of LendGen Mortgage, and Sean Morrison of Mill Pond Painting. I think this was a terrific start. Look forward to doing this with you guys, and we'll continue to add to it, add value to our followers. And thank you all for your time.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Awesome, Eric.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.